won't you come back to me? I'm not blind, I just can't see. Oh, Tennessee, won't you come back to me? I ain't free, not alone when you're with me.
All right, so this is the rig that I used this last weekend at this solo performance, and I've got my Maton 808 Messiah series, and that's going into input 1 and through that guitar chain. And then I've got this Shure Beta 57 from a vocal mic going into input 2, and that's using just that bottom row, which is the vocal chain. And they're mixed, already pre-mixed into a single output, and hopefully this is a a decent balance here. But this is kind of show you everything. If I was having to control everything and basically just give somebody a single XLR to then pipe in, really not touch EQ or anything on the front of house or monitor board, and just make it louder. All right, so let's go through some of the sounds real quick. We'll do the mic first so that then we can kind of move it out of frame. So in the vocal chain, I'm coming in the combi port for N2. I'm using an XLR from this Beta 57. First hitting a compressor and a gain boost that's always on. So those stay on. And then I've got a foot switchable harmony here. It's not something that I really use, but I wanted to throw it in there as something fun to play around with. I didn't use it at the gig, but we can listen to what that sounds like. I'm gonna unmute real quick.
And it sounds like this.
Okay.
Then we've got our harmony. I don't even know
what that's set to. I didn't want to accidentally step on that, but I kind of put it in there as something to play around with and see, do I fumble around the first time playing through the quad Cortex, with a preset that there's a button I definitely don't want to switch on. I don't have it set to a specific song. I don't even know what key it's set to, and it was no problem. So I have that on foot switch F, and I'm using stomp mode for this. That's just what I'm most comfortable with, kind of this first go around, just using intuition to build this preset. And so being able to kind of see it was more helpful than kind of trusting some preset screens. So for foot switch G, I've got delay and reverb, very slight on the vocals, but you can hear them.
I'm not fit for your subtle anxiety. Got enough for me.
And then for foot switch H, I've got a mute. And that's really helpful for the instrumental pieces. That's predominantly what I'm doing for these private shows, but occasionally I will sing some songs. So I've only got 3 foot switches that are controlling that effects chain for the vocals. Now the other thing that you see there is an EQ, and that's always on. And that was where I was able to quickly roll off some of the high end. It's always going to be on. I can dial it down, up, how I need to tune it to the room. So let's get this mic out of the way. So foot switch E here, I have set up to control the looper. So if I hit foot switch E, it brings up the screen for the looper. I can record, play back, reverse, backwards. I don't do that, but it's there. And then you can hit this button here to exit out of the looper. It will still play, continue playing until you enter into the looper once again and hit stop. This first Lele expression here is only controlling the playback volume of the looper. So that way it's not going to surprise me if I can't seem to get there in time and I need to end the looper real quick. I can roll back with just this volume. So let's kind of show that real quick. So I'm able to fade it down if I need to quickly stop, or if I find that it's a little too loud to play over. So we'll keep it down, keep it playing though. We're gonna exit out of the looper. You can see it's still playing, and then I can play over it. And that's where I'm gonna bring it back down. And if we wanna stop it, we have to get back into the looper and hit stop like that. We can exit. We can play around with whatever we need to play around with. If we want to get back into it, we can simply go back to the looper, hit play once again. Now the way that I used these other functions was predominantly to play over a loop that I created. Sometimes I'll do just an ambient loop, but for the guitar, the first thing it hits is once again a compressor. I can turn that on and off. But then I've got a drive here, and that's just a little bit of to play over the looper. I don't think it sounds best on its own, but it helps kind of separate it from the playback. Then we've got an EQ that's always on. Then next in line, we have this rotary. It's just, I didn't really even tweak anything. I just set it to fast from slow, so it's always fast when I pull it up. And then foot switch D here, I've got a boost, okay? And what's happening before that is in parallel, I've got two delays. Now the delays are actually going in series, but then those two delays are parallel with the reverb. All three of those are connected with expression 2. So this is my wet expression. That's all it's doing. So dry. Can fade that up. And I'll show you the way that I've used that in the past with the loop. So we're going to go back into the looper, hit play, bring it just down a little bit. We're going to kick on the drive here. Have some rotary. Then if I really want to kick it up and boost it, but not necessarily drive, and that's a way that I'm using this really simple rig here to pull off a solo show where I've got a lot of things at my feet here that I can kick on, but ultimately its control and the way that it sounds is unbelievable. I fully trust the sound coming out of this, and I can make big broad changes, broad global EQ changes. I can also set the individual levels of the mic and the guitar. And like I said before, another useful feature is if I need to send separate mic for vocals and separate guitar signals. So if there's a sound guy and he wants control obviously over the mic and the guitar separately, I know when I'm going to be muting the mic, for those instrumental pieces, but I'll let him control everything for front of house. It's as simple as bending down here and changing to out 1 and out 2, now these separate lines that were already separate are not being mixed into a single XLR, but now I can go out and give 2 separate signals. That was much quicker than I think you could even unplug the cables and reroute them with the direct box on the floor. Not to mention, this is controlling all of the effects, all of the tone shaping, EQ, the levels. It's got so much control here. I've really fallen in love with this setup from the one show and how easy it was to load in. I think it was my quickest load in and sound check ever, because all I had to do was walk in with my board, my quad Cortex rig. I brought my mic and my guitar, and ultimately it helped me not think about any of it. Once it was done, I trusted it, and it was showtime, and I was able to kind of focus on my performance and really enjoy that. And at the end of the day, I think the best gear is the gear that gets out of the way, that helps you create, make more music, and enjoy it more. Obviously, the quad Cortex is capable of numerous different setups and so many cool, great sounds built in. But how easy it was to make a really simple user patch that made my life simpler for making music in front of people, that's what really sold me on it.